Welcome to the October 2nd Litchfield Budget Committee meeting. We'll call the meeting to order and start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone. Got a semi-full house here tonight. Any review or additions to tonight's agenda? One quick change, and my apologies for not sending it out. We did make a cut with Ms. Kleiner and Mr. Brunel, a couple of changes just due to scheduling conflicts for presentations this evening. So we have friends from the police department who are here, and then fire will be next week. Also, Mr. Brunel sent a note out before the meeting started. He was unable to be here tonight and not able to secure a backup for the evening. So he would watch, capture any questions, and use our Q&A doc to follow up on any questions from this evening. Yeah, you can spread out. With that, move to public input. Any public input this evening? Seeing none, I'll close public input. We'll have another round before we adjourn this evening. Next on the agenda is correspondence. Just a few items since our meeting last week. Thank you to Mr. Taylor for putting this together. On September 26th, Carrie Douglas emailed Chair Sun asking about the dispatch supervisor job posting. On September 27th, Mr. Sullivan sent the Budget Committee meeting minutes from the 9/25 meeting. On September 29th, Heather Sneman sent the third quarter comparison and monthly default and operating comparison. On October 1st, Chair Sun sent an email to the committee that the town Q&A document has been updated. And then I also sent an email right before we started this evening that had updates pertaining to fuel costs that Ms. Kleiner shared earlier today. That is our correspondence. Next, we have review and acceptance of minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review minutes from last week?
Yeah, I just have one question.
Yep.
Carrie,
I actually haven't read them, so I have no idea.
what?
The minutes, so I.
No.
Go ahead.
You abstained?
I was not here.
You weren't.
The first meeting I've missed in
She missed that.
12 years.
She missed that May meeting.
How come I didn't realize that?
Because I'm always here.
Quiet. I would notice.
I was my son's music.
Yes, that was correct. It was accurate.
Right.
Any other? Okay. We have a motion to accept.
Motion made.
Motion by Mr. Burke.
Second.
Second by Mr. Barca. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries 8-0-0. All right, next on the agenda, get into our town business this evening. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we jump in. I mentioned this earlier, the Q&A doc has been updated. Tab from questions last week that Mr. Brunel added. We'll make sure between myself, Ms. Kleiner, we capture any questions that come up tonight so that they have an opportunity to answer those before next week. And we'll continue to use that as a place to capture all of those questions. You can see up on the screen here, there's the order that we're going to go in tonight. So we'll go with conservation, parks and rec, library, police, ambulance, planning, zoning, cemeteries, mosquito, and general government facilities. We'll still have some next week that we'll need to go through because we do have fire that was unable to be here tonight, so they will be here next week. We have gone through IT already, if you remember from last week, so that one will be scratched off next week's list as well. And then before we get started, one thing I want to make sure, and I apologize because I probably should have said this last week when we got started, and I just want to make sure we're kind of all on the same page. When we get into questions with various departments and the town when they come up, I want to make sure we keep our questions pointed on things that are within our purview. So I want to make sure we focus our questions around dollars and cents, the budget, and not around specific components of whether we agree with stuff or not. Because ultimately, as a reminder, it's a bottom line budget. We have opportunities once we start voting to make cuts, and then it's up to the governing boards, whether that be the school or the Board of Selectmen, to actually implement those budgets. So I just want to make sure we keep our questions on point tonight. And with that, we'll transition. Ms. Kleiner, are you starting tonight, or are we going straight into conservation? All right, great. Good evening.
Good evening. What's the number?
Oh, sorry, the 4611.20, if you're following along in the spreadsheet.
4611.
46, it does say 10 on the spreadsheet, yes.
But it
46,
says 20 in the file, so there's a
4611.
discontinuity there.
All right,
Right,
Evening.
good evening, I'm Matt Hoffman, I'm Chair of the Conservation Commission, 38 Brickyard Drive. So for our budget request, we are asking for an increase, and that's specific for, we hosted our first annual ice fishing derby last year. It was a very good success, and we'd like to keep that going, but it is a cost to it for the supplies needed, the bait, and just general supplies, prizes for the kids, hot cocoa, stuff like that. So we're requesting an additional $300 into the budget so we can try to keep this as an annual activity.
Have we looked at sponsorships? Before we go to the taxpayers, have we looked at alternate methods of funding, providing?
That's
that funding?
what we've done previously, but we beg, borrow, and steal when we can. But yeah, I think this was a large enough event that we felt it was justified to add $300 to the budget.
Was it at Dara?
At Dara Pond, yeah. We had, it was at least 150 people that were there, so it was very, very well attended.
I'm assuming too, once the derby's over, the fish are still in there, right? For
catch and
Oh,
release.
the rest of the
fish-
town to enjoy catching as well?
Yeah, the fish are still in there. I mean, it's
think
catch
you're
and
at the
release.
6 and
when
that's
we
it?
do
Other questions for conservation this evening? Okay,
Pretty straightforward.
All right, thank
nice
you.
start. Thank you, Matt.
Keep it going.
Next on the list, we have
Wishful thinking.
Parks and Rec. Good evening.
Right here.
Oh, sorry, Parks and Rec is 4520. Got 10. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Chris Burns, the head chair of the rec committee.
James, Vice Chair.
So we're asking for an increase this year as well, mainly in part due to our field maintenance contract is up, and the RFP is out to bid right now. We've looked at some comps around, the other towns surrounding us, and Bedford's was probably the closest, so it's about a $20,000 increase, or just shy. We've also added another portable bathroom at Sawmill for ADA use. The utilities at Talent have gone up, and the custodian rate has gone up as well. We've had a decrease in a few line items, mainly the mileage, program expenses, and general supplies.
I'll start with a question. So the contract that's linked in there, that is that $92,625. That's what we paid last year, right?
Correct.
So you're anticipating that's going to go up around 20K.
Yep.
You mentioned the Bedford RFP. That Bedford has similar size fields, and the scope is the same for the maintenance.
Correct.
We don't currently have a proposal. We're out for bid.
It's out for bid right now.
Out for bid.
It's due on Friday, I believe.
So it could go up even further.
Good.
Could go up, could go down. Yeah.
Is there a reason why it's jumping that much?
Well, we know we've had a pretty good deal over the last few years with the current vendor. So, we're anticipating an increase just on the work that's been done. Not sure if the current vendor is gonna bid or not. And we really have no idea, based on other towns or other companies out there, what they're gonna charge.
I'd say broadly, like what we've heard is that supplies, fertilizer in particular, those have gone up. Many things have.
Is that 111,000, is that for both the proposals in the RFP, is that just for one of them, just for the fields? 'Cause there's two of them in the,
Yeah, so we broke it up, so it's the playable surfaces and then the areas that like surround Talent and
okay. So is that 110
in other areas.
proposal 1 and 2, or is just athletic fields?
So, do you remember off the top
both,
of your
I
head? I think, yeah.
It is both, okay.
It's for all fields.
Combined.
I wasn't sure if we're gonna see the other one in like the town's budget or something. It seems like more like non-field stuff. Okay.
We have kicked around the idea of doing those non-playable services through volunteer work and, you know, other methods, but I'd like to see what it comes out, you know, from the professionals.
Can I ask you a question about electricity going up? I was opening the file that has the current run rate, and then that's spend to date on 25. So the spend to date on 25 is that 53,114. Is that correct? Am I looking at that correctly? It's a EverSource file that's linked under the PR electricity.
What was the
And
total you said?
that's across all buildings.
It's across all buildings.
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, that's fire, highway, yeah, that's everything.
As far as
Okay.
our current spend, at least as of the end of last
see.
month, was
I see that now.
$6,100.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Do you know, I mean, this might be more of a question for John, he's not here. Have you looked at just like hiring someone for, I mean, $111,000 seems like you have a full-time employee and a couple mowers and have time left over. I don't know. Do you know if they've ever looked into anything like that?
I guess that would be up to the town.
Yeah, I know that's probably not really a question for you guys, but it just seems like that's a lot of money just to, I don't say just for mowing the lawns, but like.
Yeah, there's a
seems
lot
like
more that goes into
you
it.
got
There's
one person do that
irrigation.
once a week and still have time left over to do road agent type things or something. If we had that other road agent hired if we wanted, you know, something.
That'd have to be a warrant article, likely though.
Probably.
There's a lot more that goes into it. There's the irrigation, the repair work, there's the fertilizers.
Cost of materials, I'm assuming, is probably.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, the cost of fertilizer is pretty high too. But
I
even,
mean, it's not a bad idea. The problem is, like, because it would have to go the route of a warrant article, they'd still want to budget for it in
would
case the
still budget for it,
warrant article failed, right? So,
yeah, so you budget for it.
yeah.
If the warrant passes, it's like a net zero warrant article because you just use that $111,000 that's in the budget for it. And if it fails, you still have the same $100.
Yeah, I think we've learned that you can't quite do it that way.
I don't know that
Well,
you can.
Miss
Last
I
Kleiner,
think we overcomplicate it. Is what happens.
Miss Kleiner, thoughts?
I like the way you're thinking, but last time we
I think when
tried
you
that, it
start
didn't work.
thinking Salary,
So-
insurance, and then, like you said, the
We
price of
tossed
fertilizer.
around a lot of different thoughts on this, and
Yeah.
so last year, if you'll remember, we had a warrant article to add someone to highway because we were going to take the work at the library and the work at the
Yeah.
cemeteries, and that didn't go anywhere. So, you know, I think we are talking, just the road agent and myself, about at least the mowing, and could we help out with that? But we'd need an additional person, right? They are not licensed to do the fertilizing, so that still would be an issue.
It'd
that
still be
would
a cost.
Outstanding, but I think, you know, going forward, we need to look at how we can combine our resources, and use things, because currently the highway department does go and empty the trash and do some, as much as they can for both rec and compound. But it would be great if we could do more, but it would require another person, and that warrant article didn't do very well last year.
Yeah, I'd recommend trying again though, at least, right? Because I'm clicking over to cemeteries now. There's $17,000 in cemeteries for groundskeeping. I mean, you have a lot of money that we can in groundskeeping.
Agreed, agreed.
I agree with you, Derek. I think my hesitation is, like, I think about like what the school did with the athletic position last year. Like, that was promoted as a cost savings and it still failed.
Yeah.
So I just that's my worry. Like, I think
The other question too is it one person who comes out and does the fields, or do they send a small team?
Yeah, it's a crew.
It's a crew,
it's a
so
crew,
is one person even enough to do what you're asking them to do?
There's only one person does the fields.
It's one company. But yes.
Right, but they don't send,
Person. She does, I know she does Darren, she does Sawmill, and she does Innis. I don't know about the baseball fields, but it's just
The
one,
mowing.
the mowing.
That's what Kevin is saying.
so there's only one person that does it? Okay.
It's not, the field's not that big. I mean, Sawmill's probably the biggest. It would only take, if you had a big enough, zero-turn mower, an hour or two.
She does about 100 miles an hour too.
Did you say the RFP is closing this week? Is that what you said? So I assume you all review that at your next meeting and your timeline to make a decision pretty quick? Any other questions for Rec this evening?
No, but, go ahead.
Why aren't we seeing the maintenance of the fencing at Sawmill in the budget?
The
The
little
repairs
barrier
of the
fence there.
fencing, because it's need of desperate repair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why aren't we keeping up with the maintenance of that stuff in your budget?
Like the wood outline?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I know that I've been down there myself. I've seen that. You know, I think the hope is that we can cover that under some other method rather than add to the budget.
I love that idea, but at some point, right, that thing's been rotted now for a few years, like, we gotta figure that out.
Well, is wood the best option? I mean, like, you really should decide what's the best long-term option. So before you
Agree.
price it. No, I'm saying, but
But
then.
now we're gonna wait yet another year.
But the question is, are you even gonna have the money for it anyway, based on where our budgets are going?
Look, all valid
So-
questions. I'm throwing out the idea, right?
But it doesn't
We
hurt
talk
to
about
look at it.
maintenance, right? And we talk about continued maintenance of these things. Can we just repair it for the sections that need to be repaired?
Yeah, we've replaced the similar fence down by the basketball courts. We've replaced a couple of the broken boards there. Now, at Sawmill, it's a little different where the posts have rotted out.
Right.
And that's why they've failed and fallen apart. Where the basketball court, it was actually the vertical piece that broke. So that was an easy fix. We've done that ourselves. You know, it's obviously a little more work to dig up that post and replace it.
Yeah, I'll say that a lot of our maintenance work has been based on acuity, right? It's not very preventative. So you can see the line, it's not huge, and we basically respond to what is the most urgent thing that we can't not address. And so it does not have that vision that I think you're advising on.
Right, I mean, at some point, we need to keep up with the maintenance of some of these things, and I'm just afraid that yet another year we already know it's deteriorating in certain sections, and yet we're gonna wait another year to even think about addressing some of these things. Right?
Have the different leagues been asked to take that?
We have not reached out to soccer about that.
Sound like a broken record, but I get to use it for free. I know they have money, so it's in their best interest to make sure that
tried
somebody
paying-
doesn't ride a four-wheeler through
Tried paying
there.
for the toilets last year, and
That was only 5,000. Not into toilets yet. We're not into toilets yet. Ms. Ellis, do you have a question?
No, my only comment is on, as we're thinking about the grounds and the possibility of alternate methods of addressing mowing, there'd be an opportunity to consider the school's needs too. Like, do we have enough, if this person who does the mowing can do it fairly quickly, it seems like there'd be a lot of downtime, possibility of helping out the schools as well in an area where they sometimes struggle there too.
We have a lot of grass. It seems like we could figure something out for
Oh,
less money.
I mean, that's, if we were to put
Look,
forth
I
a
love
line.
I love our school facilities to look like Sawmill. I mean, Sawmill is one of the best fields arguably in the state, right? I've said that multiple
I would
times.
say all of our athletic fields, all of our rec
They're
fields.
fantastic.
We've got a number of compliments from teams that come in
Fantastic.
from out of
You're
town.
in
Excellent,
fantastic
so
condition.
to Scott's point, perhaps we should,
They're,
They're first class, for sure.
I think they far exceed the fields at
I'd be careful
Griffin
saying they
and
far exceed, because then
Litchfield.
some of us might say, well, then we can dial it down a notch. They're like, wow, we're over the tax cap, where can we cut?
So
Any
did I
other-
hear you say that there's, you have to be certified or qualified or something for fertilizer?
You do.
Does the school have somebody that is qualified,
We do. We have a
certified?
service that
Oh,
fertilizes.
you outsource that?
We outsource
piece
the
of it?
fertilizer, yes. Yep.
In-house mowing.
In-house mowing through our facilities crew, but outsource fertilizers.
Any other questions for Rec this evening? All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, next on the list, library 4550.20. Just a reminder, when you navigate to that tab, if you are digital, you need to click on there's two links on the left. One is the,
And there's no hard copy in here, right?
there's probably not a hard copy of that. Apologies for that.
No, it's just the way it
The
goes.
2026, click on the link that says 2026.
No, I got that, I like paper.
I
I was
know.
looking for the paper copy.
All right, good evening.
Hi.
It's good to meet you all. I'm Ann Eiley. I'm the new library director. This
Welcome.
is Gail Musco.
Gail Musco, yep. I'm
The
the chair.
chairman board, and we have a couple of other the trustees here with us tonight to be
Great.
my moral support for my
Thank you.
first rodeo. So the first thing that I really wanted to give you guys was just information about the library. 14,964 patron visits so far this year. 20,379 items checked out, 1,014 filled requests for the interlibrary loan. And then with our little ones, 10 of them have read 1,000 books before kindergarten just this year, and 144 have completed 100 books. So I just wanted to highlight this is what we're doing, where our money's going, and just also a reminder too, just what a library is. The safe place, safe community, information that's free, builds literacy, builds lifelong learning, which adds to community engagement, improves the health, because it addresses things like loneliness. People can come in and participate. So that's what we do as a library. Our main areas of increase this year that I'm requesting are in the building and maintenance to go. It's a rather big jump, 2,092 up to 8,000. There are a lot of needs in a 1924 building. We have been hitting up our trust fund. This year, we've used it to take care of everything, but next year we're gonna need to, or even this year potentially, we need a roof. And we also need to put in a drainage system because it's coming in and damaging the library, the groundwater. The equipment maintenance and repairs is another jump. Our patron computer is dying. On good note, we got a new copier for only $500, thanks to another library, so that saved us a lot. And then also furniture. Particularly in our circulation desk and adult area, you know, it's on our wish list to get a whole new circulation desk, which is not in the near future. So we need to do some things to repair it. Increase our dues and subscriptions so we can join the Association of Small and Rural Libraries, where there's a lot of grant opportunities. Our books and media, they have gone up, and I expect them to go up even more with all the things that are going on. We haven't increased it since 2016. Reduced periodicals, and then the background checks, because if the new requirement goes through for volunteers, we do have volunteers that come in from the high school in the summertime to do their project, and then if there's any changeover in employees. So.
Thank you very
We have
much.
to background check high schoolers?
Well, I don't know entirely yet. I'm just trying to prepare ahead. I think because if they're 18, yes. I think if they're below, we cannot.
I was gonna say, I can't imagine that you'd be allowed to background check.
Right.
A minor.
So,
Okay.
The roof and the drainage, is that coming out of your trust, or is that's not the $8,000 obviously, right? It's a lot more than that.
it would be lovely, wouldn't it? Well, the drainage, we have a quote for, and that would be able to come out of that. I'm waiting for the official quote on the roof, but we could do it. It's gonna wipe out pretty much the maintenance trust
Right.
fund.
Which we don't want to do because then we have nothing. If we use it and then there's another emergency, then we have no funds.
So what order of magnitude are you expecting then? For either one?
Could you say
What's the
again?
order of magnitude for the drainage and for the roof?
The order, what do you mean by order?
How much
Like,
will
how
it
much?
cost?
How much for?
Oh, the roof, he estimated ballpark about 30,000, because we're not gonna go with the slate any longer,
Okay.
which is huge. And then the drainage one, shoot, do you remember?
5650.
Yeah, 5,600, I think, around.
So the drainage, I think back to Mr. Barca's question, the drainage would potentially come from is the increase that you're looking at for
No, the drainage, well, we prefer it to come from this, but at this point, we would have to take it from our maintenance fund. This increase for the building, that is to do repairs around the building itself, because we're not gonna have anticipating not having much money from the maintenance fund, because it's going to be wiped out.
Got it.
And that's just, the wear and tear on the building, things that need to be fixed.
Would you all be able to get us a balance of that maintenance fund? I don't know if that's linked in here or not.
The last balance they had didn't reflect the check they sent us. It's about 50,000 that's left.
Thank you.
So one question I'd have, and this would be more to Ms. Kleiner, what are the impact fees look like for the library? Like, I know we spent some, but we've also built a lot since then. So how are we doing on, and can any of those be used towards any of these projects?
That one I don't have off the top of my head.
Like, perhaps we could use the circulation desk.
Library is 42,923.
42,009 something in your impact fees. So, I mean, if we can make the argument, if you're using a circulation desk to expand services, could we not use impact fees for something like that?
We'd love that.
Sounds logical to me.
Because otherwise, what would we use it for? You can't use it for drainage, you can't use it to re-roof. But if a new circulation desk better serves our expanded population, why could we not use those funds?
So, my standard response, I'm gonna give it again.
It's up to the Board of Selectmen, but.
No, well, yes, ultimately, but there is a plan on the website, under planning board.
That's right.
There is a document, and you can only spend impact fees for the things that are noted in the study as to why they were collected. So, last time I looked at the libraries, I believe it was building related only. I'm happy to look at it again, but that,
Building related in what sense? Because I would say a
External.
permanently fixed circulation desk is part of my building.
so,
I agree with Carrie.
Makes sense.
but the other thing then, it has to be, you did put that in your CIP report.
Yes, it is in the SIP.
So that's good.
Mhm.
So the two things, it has to be in that plan, it has to be on the CIP request. So I don't know, I'll send the link to
Yeah, I
all
was
the
looking through that.
CIP requests, this year, so that, I know Brian knows, but, I do believe you included that.
I did.
That and the roof.
How would a roof, though, constitute use for impact fees? You're not expanding services.
it's just on the plan.
All right, gotcha.
On my
Plan.
SIP.
The only
But-
thing I'd add about the 42,000 is that there is a caveat here, is it's unclaimed, there's an asterisk about unclaimed funds. I don't know what portion of that money is unclaimed funds that are scheduled to be returned.
Well, if we're returning them, we better, circulation desk sounds really good spot to spend them.
So I think that's a,
The council, I think usually, usually town
so
attorney.
let's capture that. Let's
Wait, so we allowed impact fees to expire? We have to return impact fees?
Oh, library was going back for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about that last year.
Yeah, because it's so hard to,
I just don't know
Use
what
them.
portion it is out of that money that's.
Can we, let's
Can you
capture
use it
that.
on the pavilion and put sides on it so we have another room?
Let's capture that as a follow-up question. Let's get the balance on the fees, any that are set to expire, and then we can pair that with the documents from the planning board. Yeah,
So the available is 38,235.
There you go, thank you.
thank you.
So we lost 14,000?
4,000. 4,000, yeah.
54.
I had going back to your budget. I had a question
Slightly
on.
infuriating.
I don't think this was on your list up there. I didn't see it. Community programs. I was looking at what lines had some of the bigger increases, and I think you hit on most of them except for community programs. Can you speak to that?
Sure.
35% increase.
That community programs increase two parts. One is, we try and get people in for no cost, low cost, but if you want to get some of the bigger events, those prices have increased. The other thought is because our summer program is primarily funded by donations, but it's getting harder and harder. We saw less donations this year than we have in years past. And we have a very, very strong, successful summer program with a lot of participants. So I want to be able to have the funds in there to continue to support that.
Okay, thank you. Other questions for library this evening?
I just had a question. It has at the top, 2025, board-approved budget. What was the result
Oh,
of
not
the
you,
default?
not you guys, them.
No, I know, but were you not subject to going to a default budget?
Yes. Yeah, that's my note to myself. That is the default budget.
Oh, so 2025
I think
board-approved
what I was
budget is
meaning to write
actually
is
the...
Board of Selectmen approved default budget, but I didn't put it all in there. So
Okay.
yes, that's what it is.
It's a small square.
What?
It's a small square. You can't fit all that in there.
Other questions for library this evening?
Why are the conferences and seminars both going up? They both, one's a 45 and one's a 66% increase. Are all these things costing more?
They
Are we
do.
going to more?
No, not going to more. I do anticipate myself needing more training because my experience is not specific to library. So I do know during the upcoming year there might be some things that I'm going to need to go to pay for. We try and just do the free ones. Conferences, which line are you on?
Are you looking at the 25 or the 26?
You're in the
Maybe
20
I am looking at
You're
the
at the
25. Where's
Because
the
the
26?
seminars was a
26 proposed
9%
budget link is
increase.
right under the 25.
Oh, I clicked the wrong link, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to find that line
Yeah,
item.
which is
Seminars only
$50.
$50.
Yeah.
Yeah, $50, I'm sure.
Okay, so it went up last year. Oh, this one's sideways. All right.
Other questions for library this evening? Okay.
So, and just that, we're saying $21,000 increase now, but we also know that our insurance is likely to go up significantly. So, this is still artificially low for the increase.
It is, and the other potential is that this insurance only shows 2 out of the 4 people that are eligible because only 2 have taken it. If the other 2 take it, we also get hit with that.
And you still have, what is the hourly threshold that makes people eligible?
Our full-timers are 32.
And what is the town full-timer, remind me?
40.
So your employees have to work 40 hours to be eligible for the healthcare.
Sorry,
Yeah,
what is it? So union is, 26, ours is, 30.
30?
And they pay 50/50 to part-time.
no, I think you're
But-
asking what.
I wanna know if full-time at the library is 32 hours, what is the full-time at town
Oh,
hall?
40, sorry,
40.
40. I thought you were asking again for 40.
No, this is one of those things that's always stuck in my craw, honestly, because everybody else has to work 40 and the library gets it at a reduced hourly.
Oh,
So-
well, we would love it if you'd bump everybody up to 40 hours.
I would
There's
be
the money
ha-
for that.
No, I also remember when we had this conversation, it was concerned about runaway health insurance expenses.
Other questions for library this evening?
Library isn't under the governing body.
Oh, I know. I was here for the debate and the conversation. I can tell you how I voted.
Well,
All right.
let's not carry bad stuff into the new year.
Well, again, the concern is, since your library budget has grown substantially over year to year relative to other budgets. The rate at which you guys grow tends to outpace a lot of the other departments, and it's difficult.
It was.
There,
That's
not
what
too
I've
long
seen.
ago, your budget, not too long ago, your budget was in the $200,000 range.
And that was because of the health insurance. That's why the library went up. But you also have librarians that are full-time and we don't have the money to make them 40 hours.
Also,
will.
so long ago, the town budget was 4 million.
Well, we will table this debate, because
And legally, you
it's
have to
inappropriate to
offer-
tell me what I want.
Legally, you have to offer health insurance at 30 hours.
Again,
Any,
we will table this debate.
any
'cause
other
I don't
questions
think we
for
have to go forward.
library this evening? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Next, we have police. Welcome, chief.
I will, tell them.
We'll start with, police administration, which is 421010. I think that's correct. 421010. Good evening.
Good evening. And actually, so I had done this initially, and I just see that the top has been changed, under the board approved. So all of my slides here are for board approved, and I didn't change these, and I'll get to the default in a second, just because I spelled it out a little more clearly in these. Each particular line, and then I kinda lumped them up to compare them to the default. So I can go through these if you want, or I can skip right to the default if you prefer that. But they are a little more joined together in the default.
Yeah, let's go to the default, because I think that's
That's
where
what
we,
we're operating
yeah,
off
that's
of.
where we landed from last week.
So as you can see, salaries are up $19,000, about a 1.3% increase. Contracted services are up 5,500, 8.3% increase. Non-contracted services are down about just over $1,000. Dues, conventions, and training is up about $4,000. Supplies and purchase is up about $700, close to $800. And maintenance is up, and I'm sure you guys are gonna have questions about this, but you can probably figure it out, is up $26,650.
Questions for police?
Let's talk about the cruisers.
Vehicle repairs and maintenance. Feels like a good place to start.
Didn't we get at least one though?
We got one car, and I'm sure everybody's have said this a million times, we have 7 Tahoes, 6 of the 7 have had an engine rebuild since I've been here. The engine rebuild just fixed.
For those watching at home, you've been here how long?
A year, 9 months, 10 months, something like that.
Thank you.
So the rebuild fixed the problem, but it doesn't fix the root cause, which is the fuel injection system. For those of you who have been around this 5.3 engine that's been in every Sierra and every Tahoe forever, those engines were bulletproof for years, and then because of federal mandates, Chevy had to change that motor, or did change, I don't know if they had to, but they changed the fuel delivery system, and it just gums up the valves and causes problems with the camshaft. So because of that, we've had 6 out of the 7 engines need a rebuild. The lowest one was at 47,000 miles. As it stands, and I'm sure you've seen, I put in for 6 new cruisers. If I get all of them, it's gonna be this time next year before I actually physically have them. They're months and months to get them, just because all of the people who outfit them are so far behind in parts, and, things go wrong and everything else. Which means half my frontline fleet this time next year will have over 150,000 miles. So I'm expecting to rebuild those 3 anyway, and then possibly more, because I'll have another car over 100, and then cars in the, one of the cars is brand new, so that, and actually, I switched to Ford, so that shouldn't be a problem. With the engine rebuild, knock on wood. And then the other car will be over 50, which is, again, where we needed an engine rebuild on our second newest car.
What's the cost for it when you rebuild the engines? Per vehicle?
It depends. It was kind of all over the place, because one was covered under warranty because it was under 50.
Yeah.
And then some were partially paid for, but they're 5 to 7 depending on exactly how much has gone wrong with it. And at this point, none of them will be covered. By this time next year, if they go, none of them will be covered, not one penny. So that's all gonna come out of pocket.
Okay.
And again, that's if I get all 6 cars.
Say that's in the budget?
I don't see 6 cars in the budget.
See any.
6
cars in the budget.
So, no, so they're not in the budget. The first year was going to come out of the unassigned, would be the request on the warrant.
That's 1 or 6 out of,
So that's the municipal lease, which,
It's like the highway truck that we've got through the
Right.
same company.
It's not a lease despite the word, when they call them leases, and I don't know why they do that, but it is truly a loan. And for $100,000, I can replace all my frontline cars and then move those other cars, the newer cars down, and get rid of all the cars that are over 100 or 150,000 miles.
And how long would this lease last?
It's a 5-year lease.
So 5
And again,
years.
it's a loan. I'm just gonna,
So, okay, loan purchase, whatever, but lease purchase, whatever you wanna call it. So for 500 grand, you're proposing to replace 6.
right,
It's 100,000 per year, is that what you're saying?
100,000 per year.
But then,
And then
at
5 years to do it
NBC,
again?
yeah, so it's like an
4 years.
ongoing $100,000.
It is, but how much of that would be offset, if that passed, what would be offset in this budget? Meaning, like, what could maintenance go down to, repairs and maintenance?
Well, this budget, again, I don't think I can touch this
No,
year.
no, no, yeah, I'm
You're
just
talking about
thinking-
in the future?
Yeah.
So repairs have always been 18.5, I guess, historically for quite some time.
So you'd be looking at about
I
30.
could be able to get it back down there. The other thing is if I do get
Oh.
all 6,
Question, if we have 6 brand new vehicles under warranty, why would we need 18.5 for repairs?
well, that's what I said. Historically, I would have to look and
It
see
would be lower than that.
how
Oh, it should
far I
be
could
much
get it
lower
down.
than
You
that.
still have other vehicles.
Oh, what? How
I
many?
think you'd generously be looking at about a third of that 100K that could peel off of vehicle repairs and maintenance.
But wait a minute though, even if it
No.
passed, didn't you say it's gonna be a year anyway? So if it passes in March of 2026,
You still need to
you
fund
still have to pay maintenance in the 2026 budget.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
on the
This
lemon
year,
cars.
this year I
I'm not-
couldn't change it. The
thinking
subsequent
down the
years,
road.
I would be able to change it and lower it.
I'm thinking long term.
Okay.
Right. And the other thing is, if, let's say we go back to a traditional purchase, the first year, I would wanna at least replace the 3 cars that have 150,000 plus miles on them.
What would that cost?
So you're looking at 210, 220 to buy 3. And if if people say to me, well, what happens if you don't get the lease? What happens if I put in for 1 car and they say, no, I'm still dead in the water. So it doesn't matter what I put in for. If the voters don't vote for it, I'm dead in the water as far as cars. So I may as well try to fix the problem. And then everybody, since I've been here, I've heard from the people in this committee and the board of selectmen, they want to see it level out. Rather than buying 3 cars this year and 1 car this year, go from 200 and something to 70 something, just keep it level. It's $100,000. And I think that's, knock on wood, interest rates are coming down. The quote that I have for this particular lease is 4.98% interest, so it's not a bad rate, and should do better than that with what's going on with interest rates.
If you did the 6, can you sort out and start to build out your replacement strategy?
That is a
with,
replacement strategy.
higher mileage let's just say 2 high mileage, 2 medium mileage, and 2 low mileage by the time you finish this lease, so that way you could get back into a regular cycle?
So it'd be hard to do that just because, I guess, I'll give you the big picture, right? Like right now, and I've said this last year, and I don't remember if I said this to you where it was in problem-wise last year, but I think this did come up in last year's meetings. There were times last year when I didn't have any cars for officers. Officers came into work and, okay, well, sit here. You don't have a car to drive. Because I had so many cars out long-term with engine rebuilds and this and that. So one of the things I want to do is get better cars into the detail cars and then fully outfit them. Those cars have never been fully outfitted with the computer, with, all the tools that we have, because they just beg, borrow, and steal to replace the equipment in the new cars. Get the detail cars ready so that, let's say the SRO could take a detail car as long as there's no details that day, could take that car rather than running one of the frontline cars. Also, if all of my frontline cars are down, then they can take a detail car because it's already fully outfitted, ready to go. And then if those cars are in good shape, they're more likely to last and be available. Again, some of our detail cars, one of our detail cars, we only have 2, was out for a while last year, which meant we only had 1, which meant one of our frontline cars was out on details. My car went on a detail one day. An officer had no, like there was Sergeant Morgan here, didn't have a car, so I said, take my car to the detail. Which again, it's not a police package car, it's not really lit up, it's not reflective, it's not anything, it should be. So those are the kind of things I wanna do long-term. And I had somebody on the board of selectmen, I apologize, I don't remember who it was, ask me about, having, replacing the administrative cars or things like that, and that's not an issue right now. But again, I'd have to do that anyway at some point. So I realize that will be another cost at some point. But I don't see a way around, either we're gonna have to come up with $200 and something thousand, and again, that only gets me 3, I still have cars over 100,000 miles, and by the time that car replaced, that'd have 150,000 miles on it.
You should just flatline like we've been saying for years. Put $100,000 in the budget for your cars every single year. You could, I mean, to be completely honest, you're gonna underspend your salary line by about 150,000 this year. So you have the money to do it. Just put it in the budget, drop your salaries by 100K, and it's an even budget, and you have your cars.
Versus doing a warrant article?
You need to buy cars.
Yeah, but-
It's silly to put in a warrant article. You need to.
But the reality though is, if you end up in default, then you don't get those cars easily. If you have an affirmative
You
vote,
still have $2 million because the default number is $2 million.
yeah, but somebody's gonna
They're gonna underspend their
incur,
budget.
somebody will probably insist that a lease purchase, or whatever you wanna call it, has an escape clause in the event that we don't have funding. Because the reality is, the long-term strategy has been those things go to vote, so that you have a clear affirmative vote.
Years ago, they used to just put leases in the budget. Those cars were in the budget.
We used to
every year.
buy them outright we used to buy,
Before that, they were in the
212.
budget as a lease every single year.
That's right.
They were.
and we
We
went
did
to
that
a
for years.
212 purchase, that's a very long time ago.
It was
It's been
long. It was
212 for,
That's
yeah,
what we used to
we
do.
bought them though, for a very long time.
It makes more sense though. Just buy the
Eh.
6 of them for $100,000 and just keep doing $100,000 every
Yeah,
year
but-
because you need cars.
Sure, but,
What we're doing now is silly.
well, paying 60,
What do you do though with
Paying
all
the
those
maintenance
cars
on these things is.
that come up?
paying 60 whatever percent,
Why
because
are we buying cars that need this level of maintenance? Have you looked at what other departments have saved by using electric cars? You have spent so much of the time idling, burning gas, putting
Not
wear
electric.
on the car when it's
I-
not even moving.
I don't know of anybody who's done an analysis like that. I could look at that. But
It's very substantial given the way that police vehicles tend to be used. It would probably make up for entire cars over a couple of years.
Are there departments in New Hampshire that are doing electric?
that's the problem when it gets frigid cold and then
Performance,
And
right?
Modern
Performance, charge them,
lithium-ion electric
electricity.
vehicles perform perfectly fine in -20.
The problem with electric
in Norway,
vehicles,
it's
because there's towns in
97%
California
of
that
the
were going to
market.
do it,
That-
they're too small
It's not
and
a
they're too
problem.
slow.
They're not, there's at least 3 companies
Well, let's
making
just
trucks
say-
and SUVs and EVs. There's plenty of
right,
space.
but they have to be a police package vehicle.
the last time we were the
Other
guinea
police
pig on
departments
an
are doing
experiment in
this.
New Hampshire, it didn't go well. Just saying,
I mean,
There's an enormous cost savings here.
I think,
not anymore,
To-
there's no more,
I think to Mr. Olson's point,
no more like, EV credits
we should
anymore.
explore all
The
options.
credits.
Like,
Just the
what is the
maintenance.
cost?
The ma-
And then what is, like, I agree with Carrie on this. Like, I don't want to be a guinea pig on that. Like, we don't want to be on the bleeding edge of that. But I think if there are departments that have proven this model in similar climates,
Right.
that's worth investigating, I think.
Why does anyone think that the climate here is a problem for an electric vehicle?
Have you ever left your drill in the garage over the winter and then been surprised when it doesn't charge anymore?
Yeah, I don't.
It's not like that.
I know, but I don't want to debate merits of electric or not electric. I think
I
I
got
mean,
it,
it's just not
I have
true.
880 panels at the middle school ready to go for it.
I think it's.
How do you
I
get
thi-
for sale cheap?
I think given the conversation we're having about the spend on maintenance, the need for vehicles, exploring all options is not a bad thing.
And if we're gonna explore, I would consider hybrids, because I think they would be more logical.
They consider sedans.
Hybrids have all the same maintenance problems, though. They put
think
just
anybody
enough
makes a
battery in there to call it a
Anymore?
hybrid.
Dodge stop.
There's
Ford
it's
doesn't.
almost nothing.
Chevy doesn't.
There,
Uh,
a lot of them are under 1 kilowatt.
And unless we have more discussion on vehicles, because this is obviously going to come up
The
during.
discussion I have on vehicles
warrant
is I want to
articles.
see something pass,
Amen.
right?
I think we all
And
do.
I'm very concerned the current plan is not going to pass.
Why?
And
I'm saying, just put it in the budget.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
Yeah.
6 cars going to warrant, like, is just not a viable
People
plan.
don't see 6 cars and just like,
Yeah,
You
but
think
if-
people see 6 cars
What
over
happens-
100,000?
What the hell, right, I mean,
What is
it's
the
just not
difference
gonna
between the
pass.
proposed budget and the default budget, though? It's substantial.
no, it's not.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
the bottom line is, that is the problem. With the police budgets,
No,
Right.
overall, bottom line, if I'm a voter going
5K?
in, and I
5K
see,
difference.
if I see that there's that, because it's a pretty substantial from what I understand, the proposed budget and the town default budget. If the default budget is what we end up with again, and we put the least, whatever program in the budget, we're in trouble. If you put it as a separate warrant article, you can still go default and get your cars.
but this town does the same thing. The police budget went up with the default budget. It went from 1986 to 2 million. They went up. So
The
they have the money
contracts?
to do the lease in the budget.
The other problem too, you put it on a warrant article, it fails. They're in the same boat, no cars.
Well, they'll still be in the same.
If it
boat.
fails, then they really can't buy cars.
I do, like, if I had to weigh, I hear what you're saying, if I had to weigh those two things, I would feel more confident in the budget passing than I would a warrant
Yes.
article passing.
If the
I
warrant fails,
agree.
they can't buy cars at all.
Look, I've been monitoring the maintenance here, like, I'm all behind you, like, you need the vehicles,
Amen.
right? And like, but we need a plan that passes for you guys.
Mr. Chairman, can I just address 2 questions that were
Yep.
brought up, or 2 comments that were brought up?
Absolutely.
Ms. Douglas, you brought up that we used to buy cars on the regular, and since 2020, in that, from 2020 through 2025, normally we would have bought 9 cars. We bought 3. So we are
Hey, I was on.
behind.
I was on your side for
Oh.
last year. Like,
Right, no, I'm just clarifying and this, I'm answering your question, but it's. for
my
everybody.
biggest issue is I hate paying other people to borrow their money. I hate interest. I am like viscerally opposed to interest. So I get the idea of leases. The idea of paying to borrow somebody else's money kills me. I don't think
What's the interest rate?
it's
4.98.
it's
Is
still.
where it is now.
Yeah.
And again, it should drop, but I agree. I understand 100%.
I just say I don't pay interest in my personal life. I carry that forward to everything else I do.
Your
But
second,
if you're at an
And to
interest rate
Mr.
that's
Barker's
at or lower
point
than
about
inflation,
salaries
basically break
is,
even.
I want to fill those spots, right?
I can
mean,
invest that
we see
money
that every
elsewhere
year.
and actually make money.
But, I mean, this year I couldn't because we're in default, because the money had to go out to other departments, which I'm fine with. But, everybody talks about on the committee and the board of selectmen, well, the people have to vote on this. Well, the people have voted and they want those 2 spots. One of them being the SRO spot, which I really want to fill. Like, that drives me crazy that I can't fill that spot, but I have to fill the road first.
So considering where we are, regardless of whether we put it in as a warrant or in the budget, it seems like and one concern I have is going with this plan is we are committing long-term to this plan. Like it is, that, we have 6 cars, they're gonna be replaced on the regular at the same interval. So there's gonna be,
That's,
Maybe you go like
that's not a good
stack
idea
3 and
either.
3 or something.
I think what would help, I think maybe less for this group, but probably for the general public.
Right.
And I don't know if you've done this yet or not. Like, show us a 5-year analysis. That if this plan did not pass, here is our anticipated maintenance cost with anticipated increase, and here's the spend, and here's our liability, and then what's the how much more are we going to spend on this plan? Because it would conceivably cost more, but what are the benefits from that? And like being able to compare and contrast those two,
Right.
helpful for this group, more helpful for the general public, I think, in communicating this outward.
Say if it doesn't pass in the next 5 years, you'll be going down the horse farm, getting horses and pulling, and that's what you're gonna be using.
So I don't want to
Rollerblades,
I don't want to shortchange
E-bikes.
this conversation because I think it's probably the most, other than people, the most important part of your budget. I know it's it's going to come up during warrants. I think I think I don't want to speak for the police, but I think to see some sort of an analysis, it sounds like just a straw poll. Like there's some interest in seeing that in the budget, but obviously, like what would that be? What would that be offset with? I think we would want to see like how much would maintenance come down? Where could we find some potential other savings if we were to find a way to get the 100K in here? What would that look like? I know you weren't prepared to speak to that tonight. I'm not anticipating that, but I think that could be.
but the reality to that is if
follow.
we're going through this to sell people on that, then you're doing most of the work for a warrant anyway, and then you're protected if it goes to if should that be the decision you make? Because I am very concerned that given the difference between the budgets, that you'll end up with another default, and then where will you be? So, but if it's a warrant that we can convince people is a good idea and will save money, you can still pass the warrant and fail the budget.
My
And you
hesitation
get
on
your
that, I
cars.
keep going back to the athletic, I keep going back to the athletic position that I
That's
thought was.
different, though.
Yeah, but it was, to me, that was a
It's a
cost saving.
no-brainer.
That warrant article was the one that really befuddled me because it saved money over a period of 3 years plus, and it failed. And so, like, in my mind, maybe there wasn't a good enough communication. Maybe we didn't do enough. The school board didn't do enough. I don't know, but that's my concern with it being on a warrant article. I hear what you're saying, but like seeing that fail. gives me concern.
I just don't think we should compare athletics to the police department.
No.
There's a contingent in town who say, you know what, athletics should be funded by the people who use it.
I-
Police is a different story.
I agree. I'm not
wouldn't
comparing
compare the
athletics
two.
and
People don't use police.
But I don't think you're going to have the same opposition to police as you would to an athletic person who services only athletes.
But the story behind that, whether it was sold or not, is this saves us money. Whether it's athletics, whether it's administration, whether it's police or fire, this saves us money.
Sure, but there's other ways we can save money too.
So is the
Mr.
intention
Sarge
after
did
the
it.
5 years?
I
Because I
think-
know I've asked the
Saying,
question
go ahead,
before,
Brent.
like, your fleet will then be like 5 years old. So you'd have to replace the whole fleet,
Right.
for the most part. So after 5 years, you just purchase 6 more
That would, right.
and just keep that
That's what I'm saying. This
$100,000.
is a long
continual line item.
Plan.
Yeah. Just every year it's 100,000. It's gonna go up a little bit every year, but
Right.
every
Right.
5 years.
What I'm saying is-
it'll go to 120.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but after 5 years, those will like drop down, those vehicles, you purchase new ones.
Those become the detail vehicles and then, yeah.
Mr. Olson?
And then at the same time, will they last 5 years? You have cars right now that aren't lasting long.
Right, but
I know you're changing type of
right,
vehicle, but.
right. The biggest reason for that is the motors, but again, we have cars that are way older than 5 years. I have one that's 10 years old.
Are
Actually,
we
it's
buying
probably
the
older
same
than that.
cars that are failing now, or are we buying something different?
No, we're buying different.
Did you have a follow? Did you have a different question?
Well, where was I? Yeah, as far as the, as selling it to voters, yeah, I think people see, something for sports and if it's a sport or a thing they're not interested in, they think this doesn't benefit me at all, whereas I think it's very easy for somebody to understand that, you know, a new vehicle now is gonna reduce, you know, maintenance
Long-term
costs,
costs,
and,
yeah.
you know, everybody knows that this is something meant to serve everybody instead of just one specific group of people, so. But that was community, like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
On that last warrant article, and I feel like I pay a decent amount of attention to what's in those. So if I didn't know it, I would guess that the majority of other people didn't know that it was supposed to save money or how it was supposed to save money exactly,
Yeah.
so.
I would say, in the interest of time, if we have any additional questions related to maintenance and cars, let's capture those in our Q&A document and share those with the police in the town. I want to make sure we have opportunities to ask other questions within this budget. I have one that I don't think I saw on your slides. Line 342, software support had a big jump, and it looks like that is for the.
So, yes, so that actually, because that was bought down from money from the previous year.
Yeah, it was. It looked like if I'm.
Yeah, software was increased by 54, but in 2025, we paid 56,000 out of 2024 funds to offset it. So that's why that big increase. It's actually a decrease.
So it didn't actually go up.
Got it.
You just funded it from another line.
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying.
Which positions are still open? You said the SRO, is there another one?
Just a regular police officer.
And an SRO.
And SRO.
Okay, so there's 2 open positions.
All right, so I have a
Current,
follow-up
they've been
question.
open all year?
I'm sorry?
They've been open all year?
Yeah, for a couple of years.
Yeah, because when I got hired in January 24, we were operating at less than half staff.
Right.
So we filled right to the end, and then this year we went into default, and so we froze one of them, and then even partway through the year, I was asked, okay, hold off before you do it.
Yeah, that, one of the conversations was we were gonna be at a full complement, so that's why we, all right, keep the money because we're gonna be at a full complement, but we're not, okay.
Mr. Taylor.
So I do have a question about this, and I just ask, hear me out
Sure,
through the whole thing.
sure.
To follow up on Mr. Parker's question, how much dollars do you have right now in unfilled positions? And the reason why I ask is, can we use that money to help fund your $100,000 budget for lease, loan, 6 cruisers. Now, that would just be for 1 year, because what I heard you say was you have officers coming in right now that if you don't fix the cruiser problem, they're stuck sitting there and they can't go out on patrol. So in my mind, I look at it that, look, I understand you would like to be full staffed, but do you sacrifice the unfilled positions for 1 more year so that when you do fill the positions in the 2027 budget, they at least have a car to drive in? So I guess my question is, how much is in those unfilled positions, and how much can we close the gap between that and the 100K?
Again, it's not what Dan Jones wants. The voters voted for an SRO. They voted for these positions. I want to fill those positions, right? And I get what you're saying, 100%. And if we can find another way to finance it, I'm all for it. I don't know that that's my favorite way to do it, just because the voters voted for that stuff.
Let me, just to follow up to that, because I know you had a question, but I want to stay on this line of thinking. The SRO was voter approved on a warrant article. The other position is not.
It was approved many years ago, I think.
It was a warrant. Okay, never mind then. Okay.
But to your point, looking at the numbers, it looks like they're roughly gonna be about 150,000 under on the salary line this year. Somewhere on there. Yeah, so 100.
But then you're using one.
Okay, so then wait, hold on. All right, so we're gonna use round numbers of 150.
Yeah.
And SRO, I think it says here is 100 hours.
No.
Is that correct? I thought it's a special off
No, that's special
125.
That's not SRO. Those are our part-time officers.
Okay.
But still, you could.
Could you reduce the SRO, like fulfill because in your warrant article, it doesn't say how many hours of an
Part-time
SRO.
SRO. Did we go full-time?
Could you then at that point pare it back and then potentially grow the number of hours after you get your cruisers and basically take 100 of the 150, use the remaining 50 for a part-time SRO, you appease the voters in the warrant article, and you get your cruisers?
But you've used artificial money.
How's it artificial?
Because you
For the
can't
year.
guarantee that it's gonna exist again in the future. You've artificially suppressed the cost.
What if the budget doesn't? What if we go into default and now you don't have a way to pay for year 2?
Living default, the budget will be the same next year as what this year, so just
Yeah,
still be stuck
Oh,
with
wait a minute,
SRO.
Then you wouldn't fill the
can't you use
positions.
the classic, well, it's contracted. Nothing I can do. You have to buy it, it's contracted. I mean, I hear it all the time, it's thrown in my face. Can I use it on offense?
Traditionally, no. Hey, traditionally, we use unexpended funds for one-time purchases, so we don't commit ourselves to long-term expenses. So if there's a one-time expense that you wanted to try to offset, that's one thing. But if you're trying to commit us to a long-term expenditure based on one-time possible savings, there's a word for that.
No, if you end up default, then at
Kinda
that point, I'm
shady.
sorry, but my plan turns into, you have to leave those unfilled positions for 2 years then.
You have 150,000 in salary to play with, plus you have
It's a bottom line budget.
30,000 in maintenance repairs that you can probably play with that you're not going to need anymore. So there's
Or,
close to $200,000.
or Scott, you could remove it from the budget, have it
Yeah,
removed from the
flip it,
default, and make things look better.
So, Ms. Kleiner, you pulled a chair up. I'll give you the floor.
You're never gonna get it passed.
Go ahead, Ms. Kleiner.
Slush
So I
fund right now.
believe, after discussions with the board, that it is their intention to fill these positions at the end of the year. We were forced, because of the default budget, and because there were already other things in the works, to ask the chief to keep the positions open. That money has been spent, right? So that money is gone, it has been spent. But it is everyone's intention to bring the police department, to put in the SRO, and to bring the police department up to full complement.
So what did we spend it on if not on the people, if it's an open position, I'm not spending it on the person, what other things took priority that the money was used for?
Other places in the budget
Other
because of
places in the
default.
budget. So that, $80,000 that we are gonna get in taxes from the utilities, that, for that contract, and for the website, which we could have backed out of a contract and unimplement the website? We saved $30,000 signing up for the website when we did. And that's in the proposal that we sent over to you. If we had waited, because so many municipalities are now jumping on to sign up for websites because the deadline's looming. 2 years ago, they gave a big discount if you did it then to get municipalities out of the way. We took full advantage of that discount. So we made smart fiscal decisions, but we are on a path where we needed that money. And unfortunately, and granted, the taxpayers need to do what the taxpayers need to do. We fully understand that. But the board needed to also make smart decisions to keep us financially sound. And that was to ask the chief to hold off. But it's not the intention to keep going with that. The
Well,
intention
I understand that, but again, I'm gonna keep using the chief's words. Why hire a person that has to just sit in there because they have nothing to drive?
Because the smart thing to do, in my opinion, is to go ahead with the municipal lease, and if we put the money in the budget and we got default, he got nothing, right? We got
Right.
nothing. So.
Well, again, no,
we
you
went
have a
and we
bottom
looked-
line budget, though.
If you go to
And
warrant,
what
though,
happens
if the
when
warrant
you,
fails, you
okay,
can't
so
write
what
it off.
happens when you go back-to-back defaults, though? Now let's say the voters vote for another default budget, and then we're doing all increases based
Well,
on
as-
a default budget, and you're gonna get in a following year the ability to tax cap it up. I don't follow the logic that, yes, I understand that you fell into a situation, you had to play a shell game, rob Peter to pay Paul in order to make it work with a default budget. We'll see December 31st. If it comes in under budget, then it's Chicken Little Sky is falling. But I don't see where his plan of the municipal lease in a budget taken care of by the fact that, you know, you're, in my mind, being responsible about not hiring officers that can't use a vehicle.
So our hope
Because you
is-
can't get both.
We've discussed at length, both with the Board of Selectmen and as you know, department heads, putting out a wealth of information in a variety of different ways. We have a problem reaching the residents of the town. That is given. We have information's not getting out there, or wrong information is getting out there. And somehow we have to find a way to correct that. So we're having in-depth conversations on how we're gonna do that. And that might be the selectmen going out on the road. That might be a wealth, seriously, like, we're thinking everything is open for discussion.
I mean, I agree with you about the communication piece, like, and I actually, like, would applaud, I think, the way the town has been communicating meetings and like, it's a tremendous improvement.
We
To your
do a
point,
newsletter
is
every month.
everybody getting it? Yeah, I see, I
Anybody
see it, I do,
See?
yeah.
Nope, been doing it for a year.
Yeah.
Where does it
I've been
go?
doing it for a
To
year.
your-
In fact, I just was
To your
working
email,
on
to your
it
Litchfield email.
before I came here.
I read it.
I do, but I agree with you that like there are probably certain groups in town that don't they're not on social media, or you know they're not following these meetings like that. There has to be a way to communicate to folks that don't use that as their primary source of information. Going to where they are, I completely agree with you, and that I think that's a whole other conversation. Going back to Mr. Taylor's point, like I say this on the school side, I'd say the same thing on the town side. I said it earlier when I was talking to you, like I am a people over stuff person, always. That is a core belief of mine. We take care of our people before we take care of our stuff. However, this is one of those moments where you're like, if we don't take care of the stuff, what are the people going to do, right? And I think my concern is going back to something that Derek said. If the warrant fails, if you go the route of the warrant and the warrant fails, no cars at all. If you go the route of the budget and you go default, you could still have a path to get something because you didn't go the route of the warrant. And I think it's thinking through that process of what path gives us the best option to have a potential to purchase some cars. And
if the first year of the warrant article comes from unassigned, right? So it's on, and there's no cost to the taxpayers, cause that first 100,000 is coming out of unassigned. And then our position is, if the budget, the operating budget passes, then the second year it goes into the operating budget, and that gives us a year to figure out how to lower that, the budget.
I completely agree with that plan.
In order to fix that in.
Yeah.
It's,
I just, but if
that's our
that doesn't
commitment.
pass, you have no path to purchase vehicles.
and if we get default budget,
You,
it's
you,
not gonna be things over people, it's gonna be both, quite frankly.
So I guess one question I would have is for how long have these two positions been open?
a year and a half, I think you said a year and a half.
Like a year and a half?
Well, again, I don't know, because again, we're operating at less than half staff when I got here. So those two positions in particular, I have no idea.
So I just wonder if it's at some point we just had asked the people, okay, yeah, we wanted them, we've been operating without them, do we still need them?
Right, but okay, so,
Because if the question is, if I remove these and offset it with the cars, maintain the same level of service with cars that can actually allow you to do your job.
the problem is, last month, how many hours did everybody work? I can't fill shifts, I can't fill details.
Right.
At some point, we're gonna burn everybody out, and we're gonna lose people.
So the whole point of
There's no
these
other way to
peop-
say that.
right.
If we don't have decent cars, we're gonna lose people.
The whole
And I don't
point-
wanna cry wolf, but that's just the reality.
Right, and the whole point of these positions was that to lower overtime. But now we've increased our overtime and we're paying for positions that aren't helping us lower overtime. So we're getting double whammied.
Well, that's, right, we need to get to full staff, and I'm never gonna say we're gonna really whack overtime, we'll be able to lower it a little bit, but I have people working around the clock, I have people working, I mean, every week I sign the paychecks, and I can't believe how many hours people are working, and people are burned out.
On one point about the details, do you have to provide the details?
No, what we do is if we can't fill them, we outsource
Right,
them
'cause
to other
I'll
towns.
see like another town here.
Right,
Does it make financial sense and personnel sense to then at that point just say, look, no details, so you're not burning anybody out?
Well, the
Listen,
thing
at
is,
that
they
point,
take it if they
our
want.
details are gonna sit there and burn our cars even more and put us in a worse situation.
They have the option to take the detail.
They have the opportunity.
The town makes money on details too, right? You guys
And the
have a
town
portion.
does make money, we charge for the cars, so it does help offset the cost.
Well, yeah, but
All the repairs,
if it's gonna burn out a short staff, then at that point, the replacement
Right, but
cost
there-
of
there's-
replacing
Yes, I don't
something that
mind
burnt out.
details.
and I just wanted, Mr. Taylor, I just want to respond to what you were saying before, like, the cars, like I said, there've been times when we haven't had enough cars, but that's not the daily, right? I mean, this happened a couple of times. But if something bad's happening, it could be a problem. Day in, day out, for the most part, we do have cars. I don't want to make it sound like we're coming in every day and there are no cars. It's happened a few times.
A lot of it's a trickle-down effect, where you get, you'll have a car or two out of service, then you're running the other cars longer, they'll start to get problems, you get the other ones back, it's just a revolving door.
And then even the times that you do have cars, from what I heard earlier, then at that point, they're not fully outfitted. You're grabbing a car that doesn't have a computer in it. So then is that person really set up for safety
and
and
that's
success
why-
if they're out there driving around without a computer?
Right. And that's what, I'm working on building all the cars up, so they're all 100%.
I'll just close with what I hear from Mr. Brunel all the time. His budget, or the board's budget, is designed for the needs of the department and the town. Usually, I am not buying the, well, this one's old and gray and clunky. You guys have proven that then at that point, you don't have a reliable fleet. Everybody sees that there's usually at least one sitting in Edwards on a constant
At
basis.
least, yeah.
If there's ever a time I'm gonna agree with Mr. Brunel on that statement, this is probably the only time in my entire time on this budget committee that I would actually agree with it, and I think that 100K should be in the budget.
But so now you're increasing the difference between the default budget and the proposed budget, thus improving the likelihood
We gotta
of
get the
any
money
given
back in the
default.
budget.
I mean, they'd have to find it, they'd offset somewhere else.
I have great faith that come December 31st, the sky is falling of, oh my gosh, we're in the default budget, is not gonna turn into a trail of tears of we had to let 10 people go and destroy 8 pieces of equipment. That will probably end up coming out okay, but, Karen can smile.
It's gonna be close.
It's gonna be close, but when it was originally passed, it literally was, I don't think we can do this. and somehow everybody kind of rallied around, you know what?
That's
People are
how
gonna
we
have
did
to
it.
rally around a need for cars. They don't work.
Switching gears. Any different questions for police tonight? I think we're all on a very similar page here. Anything else under, I should say, anything else under police administration, because we do still have one more police budget. All right, I'm gonna transition us to 4210.50 police support. Right next door.
And if you look at the top half of the slide here, it's the one that I did originally, but then if you go down to the bottom, salaries are up $566, so it's a 0.4% increase, and then we have non-contracted services down $700.
That's reduction.
Part of the way to 100 grand.
This one might be the easiest one of the night that night.
All right, thank you, good night.
So does this include the new supervisor role in here?
Yes.
Any questions on police support, 4210.50? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah, we're help.
Going next to ambulance. We'll allow for Ms. Kleiner to come up. Ambulance is right next door as well, 4215.10.
It's not flat.
I think we covered this a little bit, the other evening. So the increase, is 37.6 from default, or 11.2 thousand, from the 25 originally proposed. The reason for that is you had an increase, the way the contract is, written, you had an increase in the amount per call in 2025. Of course, the default didn't consider that, so that put us behind. And now you have an increase again per call in 2026,
Goes up $20 per call per year.
pretty much. Next year, we will sit down, with Hudson to,
They're off, so.
Click on the contract and you click on that link and you can see
So it looks like we're down a number of calls.
it. You scroll to the bottom of that, you can see the numbers. That was actually maybe my question too, like the calls are down. Is that
Significantly.
so the,
significant?
that amount that you see per call is through the amount that we've been, billed this year. It's not the whole year.
Oh, it's
so-
through six, so it's half the year, it's through
Right,
630.
right,
All right.
yes.
But even still, if I
So-
prorate that,
You're gonna wind up
Still
close to 600, you're gonna be in between the 2023 and 2024 number.
540. Yeah.
It generally shows that the second half of the year has more calls. So you get into the holidays and things. So,
people are frying frozen turkeys.
Happens.
I think the win.
Yes and no.
The best thing for us was the new arrangement with Hudson that we just negotiated, when they're using our dispatchers.
So is there a revenue offset now in the budget on the revenue side? A projected revenue, if we're gonna be billing them?
Yes, so there will have to be an offsetting
Is there
revenue
one projected
in
for
there.
next year or no?
It is not projected, this just passed last
Right, so-
selectmen meeting.
So the reality is, when we look at revenues, though, we should anticipate a small or some number
Yeah.
of revenue on that to help
That's
offset.
next week,
So
so will that
we-
number be in there for next week when we look at revenues?
Yes, I've asked the chief to go through and kind of get a rough idea on how
percentage
many
of-
times our dispatchers have,
Okay.
our paramedics have gone on the ambulances.
Have we run into a situation where our paramedic goes on their ambulance and then we're in trouble because we don't have coverage in town?
No, because number one, if we always have two paramedics, right?
Okay.
And so, and if that doesn't work, then we have EMTs that
Okay.
can cover it.
I just,
and-
I would hate to have us like, yay, we're helping Hudson, but are we helping Hudson at the expense of our own people? And that would be a problem. But if we're good, we haven't run into that situation, then.
I think as the chief said, though, it's not really that we're helping Hudson, we're helping our residents.
Yes,
And
but
so
we're
we
paying for a
want-
service that we're not fully getting. So it's good to know that, to supplement what we're paying for, yes. But at the same time, we would hate to have, by doing the job that we're paying somebody else to do, that we're not putting our people at risk because they can't staff what we're paying them to do.
Right.
Would be putting our citizens at risk.
But in theory, Hudson should be having a paramedic. And we shouldn't be an impact to one of our paramedics leaving town. But since they can't, yes, we're sending in a paramedic to
Suppose in a
protect our
perfect world,
person.
they could hire them, but they can't, so.
No, the point is that we have a contract and they can't provide what so are we, yes, we're protecting our citizen by sending a paramedic, but are we also leaving the rest of the town uncovered? And it sounds like no.
No.
When
But
they get
we
called,
are
we may
very
be responding to
fortunate.
Litchfield calls too at the same time.
We are very fortunate we have
Not just in Hudson.
a number of paramedics
Right.
on staff, both full-time and on call. But it is a problem across all disciplines of municipal people. You can't hire. I mean, there's just not enough people out there.
Any other questions for ambulance this evening?
So yes, ambulance, I just want to kind of use this one as an example. So the default budget came in, just call it 25,000, less than what was approved. If we went default again, based on a March 2026 vote, how would that change the default budget from the 93,650?
83,650.
We have a new-
Well, I'm looking at that.
Well, we have a new contract, so it should be able to be factored in. No?
No.
This is an annual
No, there's
contract?
nothing on a default budget on an ambulance contract.
Well, if we're so we only
It
have a
would be
single year
stuck
contract?
again, same, 93,650?
And that's what we're saying, that giving us a default again just compounds the problem that we're having. So we go from being $127,000 behind to over 400.
So we have a one-year
problem.
contract with these guys?
It's a
No,
it's a
it's a
multi-year.
3.
It
So-
escalates $20 per
Then why
call
can't you
per
increase
year.
So I just don't understand why we can increase, like, the transportation budget at the school with a multi-year contract, but we can't increase the ambulance for the town. It doesn't make sense to me.
So
The signed contracts are generally allowed to be increased in the default.
This is Kerry saying this.
was the
Right.
So I don't understand why.
was the school budget, well, I can't speak to the school, other than, was the transportation budget approved by the voters?
Well, at one point, like, with the contract was, like, if the contract is an approved budget, when did you sign this contract? During the default year?
No,
Was it a
so
warrant
this,
article?
this contract was 2 years ago.
So it was included in an affirmatively approved budget.
I think
So therefore, it should have been able to be escalated.
a
wouldn't it?
follow-up question is,
You just want
Twice I've agreed to
Signed
this.
in, signed in 20, signed in 23.
can we go back and,
No, it didn't go to warrant article.
No, it was only approved
voters
by the
No.
board.
It's
But-
not gonna work out. It was approved in an approved budget. That's part of
If
it.
a contract is approved and then included in an affirmatively approved budget passed by the voters, typically that is considered approved by the governing body and can be included in the default.
what was the date of the signature on this? It
When
was
was-
10/26/2023.
Well, then the
No,
school.
because it's the same for so the board has 3 contracts with employees.
Right.
Those don't get included in the budget
Those aren't
either.
union contracts though, like.
No, they're not
Right,
union.
Union, we get to put in the default because that goes to the voters
Voters.
to approve.
And
This
this was
con-
approved by the voters
But
by,
they
because the,
went by a warrant article to ask the voters for this 3-year. So if like solid waste, with waste management, when he gets a contract, if we went to the voters with a warrant article and said it's gonna cost us this year, this much this year, this much this year, that gets to go into your default.
so,
You can only put
When I
a
was in the school board,
contract.
our lawyer told us over and over and over again, you'll confirm this. If the contract is in a budget that's approved, it's considered an approved contract by the voters and you can.
For that
increase it.
one
For
year.
that 1
No,
year.
no, that
No,
contract is approved.
no.
So,
But how
I-
did they approve a contract? They approved a number.
so,
I would, how about with this, we settle this, can we request legal input?
Yeah, I'll get a
Yeah,
legal
yeah.
opinion.
Follow-up
Actually,
question.
you can,
Good.
Yeah.
Next department.
Our legal costs just went up. No.
Yeah, exactly, but.
No, and it's not that I want to, like, improve, but.
It's a good
but
question.
The way we've operated the school,
Good question to ask.
I'm
Did I
perplexed
send-
as to why the town can't.
You did send it, and I shared that, the
Did I?
default.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the NHMA just put on the budget workshop for the year, and I think this is in the slides.
Oh, I
I'll
don't
go
know that
back
I
and
got
I'll look. Unless the contract went to the voters and the voters approved the contract, you cannot include multiple years of a contract in your default just because they approved one number of 1 year.
I guess.
Not if it's not, once, if the, I like the legal, because this is how the lease purchases got funded. The lease purchase agreements were put in there, they were considered approved in the base budget, they were allowed to carry forward in the default budget because they were included in an affirmatively approved budget.
But that's the same amount. You can't escalate it in the default.
Well,
You can't
the school bus contract doesn't go to the voters either, but we escalate in the default.
I think none of us,
On behalf of the school.
none of us here are lawyers. Let's get the legal opinion on it. I think it's a good question to
pay
ask.
buses.
And get,
But I'm saying, though,
and
we
get
have a
good
contract.
clarification.
And it's not that I'm trying to boost the default, but I want a level playing field.
But the school is state mandated
Yeah.
for anyone under
Eighth grade.
eighth grade? I forget what it is. I've been on school board for
High
years.
school or below, well,
Yeah,
Not
so
high
that's
school.
the difference.
Not high
If it's a law
Yeah,
that,
So
like,
when you calculate
New
this-
Hampshire retirement,
we have to put in.
we have to put that in, because
Workers'
that's a
comp.
law. So if it's a law, then you have
Hey,
to.
that might be the difference, but let's,
I would like legal.
we'll get
We
clarification.
will.
Anything else on ambulance this evening?
thanks for pulling the school into an ambulance
I mean,
discussion.
at the end of the day,
I don't know, wouldn't it be
Oh.
awfully ironic to find out that you shouldn't be doing that, and all of a sudden I
Harry
save a
wants
ton
to
of
spend
money on
more
the school?
ambulance. I wanna buy 6 cruisers.
Yeah, what's going on here? Next we have planning,
It's our world.
planning board, 419110.
I'm just trying to be consistent, man.
Okay.
419110 planning board.
Just be funny.
So, for planning board, the increase was that the selectmen wanted the hours to go from 15 to 20. This position is now helping us. Not sure if you've heard. So the zoning board has had administrative challenges. We needed people to help write, opinions and help schedule things, so she's helping with that. She's also,
So we've already
helping,
increased the number of hours?
so we increased the hours.
So when we increased, when the library came in with an increase, we made them put it to warrant. Why did we go to a different route this way?
It's part-time. It's still remaining
The
part-time.
library's
It's
got a
not
position, they're
changing.
looking to increase hours.
No, but anytime they've had to increase the hours, right,
I think it was
It was approved last year.
the library was going from
That
part-time
was
to
approved
full-time,
last year, I think.
weren't they?
but even when the
Library.
solid waste increased the number of
They
part-time
increased
hours, it went to
You're
warrant.
asking right now?
It was approved last year.
What?
The library hours were approved
Yeah.
last year,
I
right?
thought
Yeah.
they
It
were.
did, it did pass, yeah.
Yeah, but she's looking to add 4 more.
Are you serious?
No, I think it's just probably, now it's a full year, I think it's the difference.
So I think,
And I can ask the board, if they
Yeah.
wanna take those 5 hours to warrant.
it's just a matter of consistency. Every time we've increased, we've expanding the role, we're expanding services. We've gone to the taxpayers as a result of expanding services.
Is this line, the first line, 120?
It is hard, she used to have a lot of
Yeah.
hours, then she went down, and now she's going back.
Is she
down.
going back to where she was or above where she
I
was?
think she used to be a minimum of 24, but that was a few,
We're not gonna use
Say
the
how many
school
years ago,
boards.
then it
About
went to
10 years ago, it was
21.
full-time, so we
then
should
it
be
went
able to
down
reinstate.
to, what was she at, like 15 to 18?
Yes.
Any other questions for planning board this
So
evening?
ultimately, I would just like their input on that one, because I know some of them have been very vocal about expansions should be of
So
services.
the only other increase you'll see there is $2,000, for contracted services. That is because we realized that NRPC's contract, for CIP wasn't in, so we added that to be.
So can we include the CIP contract on the CIP list, since the whole point of the CIP contract is associated with the CIP?
CIP list for.
Well, if I can collect impact fees for anything on the CIP, if I need this contract to facilitate said CIP, should I not be able to recoup the costs for my impact fees?
He does more than just CIP work.
Well, the contract
Well,
is directly related to the CIP.
2,000
It's a line item on it.
is that, just that contract?
Sweet, use the
It's
library
just
funds. to
his
do it.
work on that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna use the CIP, if it's directly related to administering the CIP, then the cost should be on the CIP.
I don't have access to the contracts.
Yeah, I requested access to both of those.
Yeah.
Which one?
CIP
CIP.
contract?
Yeah, it says you do not have access, yeah. Big yellow.
Mr. Taylor, did you have a question?
Yeah, so I mean, my question, because I can't access it, when was the CIP contract signed with NRPC?
It's signed every year.
Okay.
It's been here since I've been here in 2022, so,
So,
Yeah, I thought that was-
so if it's something that's renewed, like, then how did that end up in the default then? Because technically you weren't under
It's not.
contract, your default didn't
not.
change from.
It doesn't have it in the
it's not in the
Proposed.
default.
They just used, it's in the proposed.
So that full 1986 is the CIP contract in addition to this year's default that did not have the CIP
No,
cost?
it's the second line, in the, whoops, sorry. It's the second line underneath, under department proposed, there's a 19, so the 17,986 is the
18,000.
It's the NRPC.
planning board,
Yep.
Right.
circuit rider contract, and then the 2,000 is the, CIP.
It just was, it
But
just wasn't in there.
that
it was somewhere
2,000 was not part of the default this year.
No,
No.
Correct,
it was not.
it was not.
That's why there's, yeah, that's the.
And what happens if you don't have it? I mean, obviously, we were able to survive this year without it, right?
Yep, so traditionally, I think what has happened and why it got missed is traditionally that circuit rider line, fluctuates, right? So if you don't have a whole lot of plans coming through the planning board and there's not a lot for them to review, that line can be, lower. And I think that's how we've gotten through.
Let me
Now,
ask my question. If we don't pay for it this year, what happens?
we don't,
Like, if I strike $2,000 off that budget line for the CIP contract,
for next year,
what happens?
we'll find it somewhere.
Why do you
Quite
have to
frankly.
find it? Like, why do we
Well, then
have,
we
why
could-
do we have to spend it?
Well, we don't have to have NRPC help the CIP committee, but I think that would be very difficult for them.
No, I think I hear,
But
I think
but
I
thought
hear,
the CIP is in a steady state at this point based on the.
But
the
it's
work that they've
it's an
been
It's
doing.
annual thing
annual.
where you have to refresh the plan every year for
Well, we
every
don't even
6
follow
years.
the plan, so why are we refreshing a plan that we don't follow?
Because it's required.
It seems
in-
like a waste of time.
Because it's required in order to collect impact fees by state law. You have to have a
Which we don't
CIP. You have to have a CIP.
Okay.
By
Right.
state law, you
We
have to
certainly
have
spend
it
them on
to
the school
collect
side.
impact fees.
any other questions on planning this evening?
Can you, never mind, it's completely unrelated to this, but if we're buying more books because we have more people, can the books go in CIP plan?
Oh.
Yeah,
Not impact.
I like the thought.
I thought about that earlier too.
They're asking for a replacement computer. What if you actually put in 3 computers and cut back on some of the books? Could that be an expansion of services?
sounds like it.
But it's not just an expansion of services. So I think that's where kind of the misnomer has come from. It is not just that. It is governed by statute 674.3. And that
Look that
says
up.
what you
You sure?
can, huh?
You sure?
It's
674?
74 something.
Okay.
That states what you can spend impact fees on. So from there, you have to have it in your individual impact fee study that
pretty
the
good.
town needs these things. And then from there, it must also be on the CIP. So it's like a trifecta. You've got to settle all 3. Now, just this year, the state legislature added DPW buildings to an acceptable use. But for years, it wasn't, and towns were having real problems
Salt
funding.
shed. Nice.
funding, yeah.
That's been on there a long time.
So we've been, but if it's not on, under 674, you can't spend it no matter what your plan says.
This is interesting. So you're dead on 674.3.
Oh,
Nice job. But it says
It's been an ongoing question we've answered. how many
revisions to
times?
the plan are recommended every 5 to 10 years. So why are we doing it every year?
Cause it changes, so we do it for the 6 years, right? We
Right.
do, but it changes every year and things come off and then things go back on. So if we didn't do it this year, we'd still have the solar panels and the old school plan on, right? And
But then we could have collected impact fees for the solar panels.
I think it's SIP that does it every year. It's the impact, the impact study for the town that's every 5, isn't that? No?
no, you have to have a CIP plan
I say we
that
just triple the
covers
numbers.
every 5 years.
Triple the numbers we charge.
But we didn't update the impact fee study every 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it in 14 and
Any-
recently we're
Yeah.
within the 10.
Anything else for planning this evening?
1423.
All right, let's move to zoning, 419130, right next door. Up to less than default.
Yes, it is less than default. The selectmen cut the line for public notices because we just have not traditionally used that amount of money.
Aren't a lot of those funded by whoever's putting forward zoning requests anyway? So it's like, it's an artificial cut. It should be offset by a reduction in revenue on the other side.
Yeah, the only reason they kept some funds in there is when they have zoning amendments
Okay.
that are going on the warrant, and we've got to publicize those, or we have to publicize a public hearing. That's out of the town budget. That's our cost.
Any questions for zoning?
Zoning agree with that cut?
So zoning is generally done between the board and I, and traditionally zoning hasn't given any input.
Okay.
But realistically, say they spend $1,000, that additional 400 is likely coming from fees charged
Right.
by the zoning board, so it's revenue neutral, really. It's,
They did ask, for some training. So we had upped the budget in 2025 from the 500 to 750. So of course, if they came to us and said, we need
how many
something,
people are
we
currently
would.
on the board?
Zach, George. 5.
So 5, so why would we not fund 5 instead of 10?
I'm sorry.
Well, it says zoning board seminars, 10 at 75.
10 at 75
If
each.
you have 5 members,
Assuming that's a
Oh.
per person cost.
It's,
I'm sorry.
no, we did the two, there's 2 events.
okay.
There's a zoning, and then there's like a general planning and zoning conference, so it's,
Have people traditionally
They
gone to
go.
those? Because it looks like 2024, it was 156.
not as much as we would like.
Any other questions for zoning this evening?
Yeah, the 3-year average on that is pretty low. So, I'll be looking there.
But we are really trying to push training as a general.
Zoning is important in town. Like,
Why? The state's gonna tell us what to do anyway, so it doesn't
Because
matter.
it's a quasi-judicial board, and if you make mistakes, they wind you.
No, but I'm saying at this rate, it sounds like the state's trying to tell us what to do anyway, so local zoning boards are gonna be running roughshod anyway.
Next.
I was gonna say.
Cemeteries.
$500 budget?
419510, cemeteries.
we
So
talked about
it's,
groundskeeping.
it's flat, no additional
that's-
things have been, budgeted for this year, but it is higher than the default, for a couple of reasons. So we had added money, last year, which didn't get approved, for tree removal and fence repairs, which are desperately needed. And then monument repair and contracted services, which is to that landscaping, contract. So, it is higher than the default.
Are some of those supposed to come out of the trust fund, like that monument repair, is that supposed to come out of the trust fund that was established, or no?
So going forward, the money that they acquire from selling plots, they'd have to vote to put it into the trust fund that was created, and then that money could be, expended. But it's kind of a 2-year process from just getting the money approved, the trust fund approved last year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
They sell some plots first, basically.
Well,
Any-
it's just, it's a very,
and
it
I don't
ebbs
know,
and
how many did
flows.
they sell this year, Ken? 4?
No, I don't have
So
the
the bulk
revenues.
of this is this $15,000 lawn mowing, and it's a contract we can't do anything about.
It's not a
That
current
is
contract.
that is a contract. He has kept it flat.
Is it expired though? When does it expire?
It was a contract for 1 year, and it's just gone year to year after that because there's been no increase. He's asked for no increase,
So-
so we've just.
I forget the number, my thing died here, but, it said something like, quite a few times a year, was it like 13 or 14 times a year or something?
There's
Yeah, there's.
7 different installments, is that what you're saying?
It starts May
Okay.
and goes
It just
through
seems like a
October.
lot. I mean,
April through October,
I
it
think I mowed my
says.
lawn 3 times last year, and the third one was kind of questionable.
I feel
Um,
that.
It just seems like really a lot of money for lawn maintenance.
I think we've had this discussion before,
Not
like,
disagreeing that this shouldn't be something that could be covered by a highway department, but
No, but I think
I
it's-
lost
I-
that.
It's not so
that was the
argument.
strategy. But I do remember that when we had that discussion last year and we were looking at the dollars here, that the conversation around mowing my yard, your yard versus mowing a cemetery is a lot different.
But
So-
it had to do with the stops and turns. It don't, he's asking about quantity.
Well, not
It
only
takes you
stops
a
and
little
turns, but
longer,
line
it-
trimming.
it's not.
Right, but
It's
if
way
you're
more
going,
way more
radically
labor
different.
intensive.
It's not, 10
even-
times as hard.
but the question I think he's posing is, do we have to do it 13 times or can you do it 6 times?
Could you do it 4 times? I mean, it should at most, like, if we get rain constantly, maybe you need a higher number of times, but you know,
I just,
how many times have you all had to mow your lawn in the last 3 years?
So,
A lot.
Twice a week.
well, I guess the question is, do you water it or not?
Those
I
of you
don't,
who yeah, I mean, are we watering the cemetery so it grows so that we, you know?
Because
so-
I
yeah, if you
hear what
water
you're
your lawn,
saying.
it's different, but
I
if you
don't-
don't water your lawn,
I barely mow my lawn. Barely.
It's a place of worship.
so, I'm happy to go
grow
back
next
to
to
the cemetery trustees
Imagine a
and
sorrow.
get that answer for you.
Imagine a sorrow.
I will say that per state law, the cemetery trustees can submit whichever budget they would like to the governing body. The governing body do not have authority over the cemeteries. Cemetery trustees do, very similar to
No,
the library
understandable.
trustees.
But a lot of these people are very reasonable people. Like, hey, it's like I had a friend in high school get his hair cut every week because he wanted it a quarter inch or an eighth of an inch. Like, but most people don't do that. So,
Right.
do we need to? I can see the question of what is reasonable. Like, what
And-
is it? Because realistically, you mow it too often, you kill the grass.
Contract says
I'm
bi-weekly,
happy
so
to,
you can have
I'm
rates
happy
and-
to ask them, but when we wrote the
Contract says
RFP,
bi-weekly, so they're doing it
But the question is though, I mean, does it have to be biweekly?
That's-
Because if it's anything like granted, I live in a very sandy soil that drains very well, and I rarely have to mow my lawn. I have grass occasionally, but
So let's take that question back to the trustees. Good question.
because reality
assuming-
is grass grows, if you let it grow a little bit, the roots get longer and stay better.
Assuming nothing else for cemeteries, move to everybody's favorite one, mosquito, 4411.2.
in 2024, it was raised, for some additional supplies, $100. Other than that, it's been flat. And I have to say, this year, was probably one of the best years. They were very attentive. They were out here. We had no problems where there were towns that did have problems, and they supply us with reports that
It's
we
also been
give to the
very
board.
dry. And so all the stagnant water is probably evaporated.
No, but
First half of-
we
First
did,
half of summer was every
we
weekend.
did
remember?
have, yeah, we had towns that had equine, I
It's like
can't
14.
say the
Triple E?
second word, but,
Triple E?
yeah,
13 out of 14.
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Any questions on mosquito
Next
this
20
evening?
weeks it didn't rain.
All right, last one for tonight. General government facilities, 419410.
So general government buildings is 149, and we all know what that is, right? The lease.
Towers.
Yeah,
That's done though, isn't it?
happy. But, and the utilities are pretty flat. We got hit with 2 new JP pest services quarterly. We've had to change that to account for some additional buildings, so that's up $1,000. And then we got hit with a charge, and I think both the town and the schools for Hudson. Hudson does our fire alarm monitoring. They initially wanted to put this in, it passed a Hudson warrant article to allow their fire department to start charging all their customers, all the people they do. They wanted to do it last year. We went over, we spoke with them. They gave us a pass for last year, but it was agreed that we would start paying it this year. So that's what the 1,200 for system testing and meter repairs is. That's the Hudson contract.
Can we do that?
I was gonna say,
Charge
can-
other towns?
can we do
You know,
that and then make
I
some
had
revenue
asked
on
the
it?
fire chief on this one, when the school was talking about this, and the answer directly is no.
To
This
conflict
is-
of interest, or?
No, it's a service that, because,
Certification?
it's a certification service that Hudson has to provide. Whatever these alarm systems are, that they just need to, he can speak more when he's here, I'm sure, but.
So,
Get the certification.
I guess, yeah, well, that or, so this is like
Certified
just
for
a
one, application
monitoring
stage.
agency, like as if you had one of those companies that you like have a monthly subscription to? Like what do they do for this money?
No, yeah, I think the chief can speak to it much better, but my understanding from him is this, it's not like them sitting there monitoring, when something's pulled, but they are responsible for like all the testing, all the wiring, all the replacement of anything that goes, and that's part of the problem, is they were not charging for this, so then there are repairs on people's systems, and they had no funding for it. So they are charging now everyone, and it's all going into a trust fund, and they are using that money for the repairs
So they
of
don't
the wiring.
bill us for repairs, they take care, they come out, they repair it, they leave?
That's-
Well, that seems fair, and then if,
Yeah.
all right.
So it's a fire alarm expendable trust on their side.
Any other questions for general government buildings?
I will say, so the contracted services, I know you wanted to hone in on the changes from the default. That is an increase, right, for the contracted services, and that's because we went to a contractor for janitor. So that had gone up. But
Line 360, right? Yep. Anything else for general government buildings? All right, that concludes our reviews for this evening. That leaves us with next week. We will go through fire administration, emergency management, code enforcement, health, everyone's favorite, fire hydrants, insurance, personnel administration, advertising and regional associations, and then revenue, default, and tax cap reviews. That's on the agenda for next week. All right. Are there any, before we leave the town, I know Mr. Brunel's not here, I feel like we've captured all of the questions that came tonight. Any other questions for the town that we haven't captured yet?
No, I'm still waiting for the answer though, and the population over the last several years.
Census one?
Oh, I think we put it on the census tab where we had originally given you too much information.
Okay, it's on there somewhere?
Yeah, to the right, yeah.
I looked at it real quick today, didn't see it, but,
I'm looking.
No?
I don't see it either.
Just the population every year?
I see it for Hillsborough.
To the right?
I see the Hillsborough County one. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Oh, I see the Litchfield one. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on there. You're asking for just the breakdown of Litchfield, right?
yeah, for like, what I asked for, like 5 years or whatever.
Yeah, just the population
Yep.
every year.
Yeah.
What are we at currently according to that?
We are at 8,577. Okay. School.
Yeah, oh, actually, sorry, just had one other question, just on the Q and A, just to be clear, on the, St. Susie contract.
Yeah?
Am I safe to assume that C 46 or 47 is that he generated more than if we used DRA? That it was 72.2 versus his contracted amount, which I can't remember, is like 38, right?
33.
Is that correct?
33, yeah.
33, so.
Yeah.
Generated 72, cost 33. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was reading it right.
Thank you. Mr. Cutter,
Okay.
anything exciting happening with the schools?
Yeah, we'll give you a quick update on schools. So yesterday, October 1st, we had our school board meeting. Yesterday, October 1st, was also our official enrollment lock for the year. We're at 1,095 students, 1095, 405 students at Griffin, 349 students at the middle school, and 341 students at Campbell. Really no change since August, since the August numbers fluctuated one student, so pretty flat. In terms of other updates, I've been sharing with you the financials. I did ask the business administrator last night about the budgets. We are on track to give you those at the end of the month, right, as anticipated. So I know the school is just working through the budgets now with the administration, and the superintendent's office will be taking a look at those from the administrators next week.
And how are we doing with the latest news on insurance?
Yep, so that's the next update here. So insurance, we did receive some unfortunate news, very unfortunate news, unexpected news. From School Care. School Care is an insurance company that the district participates with. Litchfield School District is one of approximately 90 school districts in the state that uses School Care. Another provider that you might be familiar with is Health Trust, that also provides a similar service to many districts. We do not use Health Trust, we use School Care. School Care provides insurance to provide like payouts for if somebody gets injured, that type of thing. Unfortunately, School Care has informed the school district and 89 other districts that they do not have enough funds to pay their obligations, and that they are running in the red by several $1 million. And as a result of that, that each district is required to pay a fee of approximately 1.5 months of their payments. For Litchfield School District, that equates to, and we got an invoice yesterday for $432,000. So now we have to figure out what we're going to do in a default budget to pay $432,000. Also in a contract year, as you know, because if there's any changes to healthcare, we need to be talking about that during contract negotiations. So it's a bit complicated a situation for us at the moment. I think the board's sentiment at there was only 3 of us last night, was to get some more information. One of the things as an action that I know myself and Mr. Shoemaker are going to try and arrange next week with a couple of members of the administration is a direct conversation with school care to ask some very pointed questions that I know I have, as well as a couple of the other members have. We have until December 31st to pay this fee, so it is time's ticking. Otherwise, we have interest that will be assessed, and they have indicated that if we do not pay, we will lose insurance. So it's kind of one of these damned if you do, damned if you don'ts. The superintendent just high level outlined options for potential ways to pay for this last night. Many different scenarios, nothing final, like just brainstorming ideas really. One of the options that's being floated out there is potentially being able to use the underspend from how we closed our books last year for fiscal year 25. Don't know if that's possible. Many other school districts are talking to the auditors about that because we've already closed the books for that. If you recall from our underspend, we had $800,000 being returned to the taxpayers as a final number. The auditors would have to approve that. We are expecting a very quick decision on that.
Not to mention that would affect your tax rates.
100%, and tax rates cannot be set, right? So tax rates cannot be set, which directly impacts the town, right? And again, this isn't unique to Litchfield, this is unique to a lot of school districts, right? So tax rates cannot be set until this is solved.
Andrew, do you know how much they're trying to collect between all the 90 schools?
Millions.
Concord's 2 million.
Concord
Well, if they're-
itself is 2 million.
They're only in the red by 2 million.
No, they're in the red by, they're in the red by,
30-something?
they're in the red by, what they project, what they indicated they're in the red right now is 4 million. And what they're projecting over the year to be in the red by is significantly more.
It's just one, like, the question is be like, how the heck did nobody notice?
How's that even happen?
So, that's one of the questions, right?
Are we
And-
really the
and-
school district to be asking that?
And what they indicated, Derek, is that they knew this last year, right?
So they should have announced it.
So
when the
how
sale
come
was-
we're just finding this out now?
Yeah.
Once
right?
school budgets
I
are
mean,
set.
there are so many open questions with this that,
Yeah,
Well, I guess too contractually, what is it, what does it legally allow them to ask for such a payment?
one of the things I wanna know is your CEO
Yes.
fired. Right? What makes us as a district not pull together with these other 89 districts and say, screw you?
State
That's
legislature.
exactly what should happen.
Right.
Or you should be, switch to a different company or
Well, there's not too many companies that provide this.
Well, that's the- that's-
start one if there's 90.
And health,
They got-
and Health Trust is no better.
business opportunity. So I don't want us to debate this. Like one, not in our purview. I
Other
mean,
than it does affect taxes.
You're right.
and-
You're correct about that. I think until I would encourage everyone, if you didn't watch last night's school board meeting, watch it. They go through 3 options in detail. There's discussed and you know,
there's discussed,
I
all right.
I think I want to make sure something that's really clear because we talked earlier with the town about misinformation that can come out, and I think we have a history of some things that have happened on the school side in the past, and I think it's really, really important, and I'm just going to say it out loud, and I hope other people do too, that this was not the school district's fault or the administration or the school board. This was an outside agency that has done this to 90 other school districts across the state, and our residents are directly impacted by this private company, not-for-profit company, and their lack of ability to have financial accountability. So
Got it, and you can read about it on WMUR if you'd like. There's articles out there.
I don't
Union
want
Leader.
us. I don't want us to debate it. There's really nothing to debate. They're going through legal. Sounds like we have to pay it, and you're right. It impacts the tax rate. There's a domino effect of this.
It's just,
that-
the timing sucks, it's unfortunate, and I get with the default budget, it's built off a budget that had a significant surplus, so I'm not but it's also, the timing sucks, because you're being held over a barrel.
Timing's
Mr.
terrible.
Anything
And
else from the school?
It happened actually in the worst month of the year, right? Because we just started the school year, right? Anyway, other things for school, solar, top of mind, been top of mind for all of us for, 4 years? I don't know. I lost track now. We are pursuing, pressing forward with moving
the remainder of that project forward as quickly and as promptly as we can. I know there was a meeting between the superintendent and Dynamic Grid, the company we're engaged with, to continue delivery on the remainder of that project.
So glad we were the guinea pigs on this project.
Evidently, there was a design change to the battery.
Yeah, you said, mentioned it went from
capacitors
some kind of
I don't know.
capacitors to something else.
The battery energy storage system, the BESS, that's what it's called. So I know it's going back to the fire chief next week for another review. Pending that decision and pending his review and okay of that
We should
design.
Have we looked
we
at
are-
the financial impacts of that? Because the capacitors are different maintenance than a
Absolutely.
battery.
We actually talked about that last night, right? So one of the considerations here is now that our panels are getting to be aged, right? And that we're delayed in getting some of the equipment that we are due, right? There's depreciation costs involved, so we are exploring that.
Well, I'm not even just thinking that, like.
And
the-
recouping some of these costs as best
There's
we're
that and just like long-term disposal of it, like it might be different. How do you get rid of that?
We
versus-
are looking at all
Are
of
we
those
taking
options.
on greater costs as a result? I don't know.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this was said during the public session that the legal is involved in this now. Is that a true statement?
Legal is involved at this point, yes.
Any other updates, Mr. Cutter?
Other than that, no, I mean, that covers the big ones for tonight.
Any other questions for the school this evening? All right, member input, new business, school facilities,
I've not yet met.
CIP? No. Public input. Open it up for public input. Seeing that everyone left us, I will close public input. Our next meeting is next week, next Thursday, October 9th, 7 PM. Finish up our budget review, and then we will move into our town voting process on the 16th. That, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Motion by Ms. Douglas, second by Mr. Barca. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries 8